No matter how hard we try or how much we prepare, sometimes things just don't go our way. Whether it's attempting a flight test, trying to land in a crosswind, or secure that first job, disappointment can make it hard to stay in a good mindset and get the job done. In this episode, I'm going to talk about some things that can go wrong and ways to establish good, solid resilience in pilots and respond to these setbacks to achieve success. I discuss all this and more coming right up. So strap in and let's get into it.
Good morning, 3614, 95 Mallow 7 POB with Alpha.
Coordinating, Halen, I'm running bank, balance, bank pressure rolling at 30 degrees. That's 30 degrees there.
Stand by star 9000, 1013, K5 25.
G'day everyone and welcome to episode 155 of the Flight Training Australia podcast. From Auckland to Albany, Adelaide to Atlanta and everywhere in between, this is the podcast all about flight training and flying in Australia and beyond. G'day, my name's Trent Robinson, I'm your host. Welcome to another episode. Happy New Year, 2025 is here and wow, hopefully you've got some flying in already. If you've been on holidays, hope you've had a fantastic time, and if you've still got holidays, well, good on you and hopefully you enjoy it. If you're on a bit of a flying adventure or traveling around doing something exciting, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Having said that, yet again, waking up in the news or checking the updates later on the day, yet more fatalities these last couple of weeks, both here and overseas. And again, I'm almost just getting sick of having to say this, but not through disrespect, but just I don't know what's going on out there, but my heart has felt sympathies to all those affected and those that have lost their lives. Again, I just hope we can really start to identify what is going on with these accidents. Sometimes things just happen, but other times they are so much cases they're preventable, and hopefully we can just continue to learn from that. And really just everyone wake up a bit, slow down, think about what we're doing and be a little bit more careful. So again, my heartfelt condolences to all of those that have been affected by those accidents, especially during the holiday period. It's never a good time, but it's always harder when it's there's usually so much joy and happiness going on, and then things like this happen. So I guess that's sort of part of what I'm going to talk about today, which is building resilience and facing setbacks as a pilot in general. It's a topic that's not often talked about, I guess. Certainly not really covered in textbooks very often, unless it's a sort of human factors thing. But it really is an essential part of every pilot's journey, resilience, specifically how to face setbacks and come out better and stronger on the other side. So whether it's a failed check ride, just a tough training session, missing out on that dream job, it's all just part of the game. The key is how you respond to it all. So let's have a bit of a talk about that and break some of it down. So first of all, let's just normalize something. Setbacks happen to everyone. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, how prepared or organized, experienced. In aviation, it's a field that just we're constantly under assessment, under scrutiny, constantly being tested. Whether it's testing ourselves, being tested by the weather or the aircraft systems playing up, or a check ride itself. All right. Early in my career, I failed a check ride. I worked hard, I prepared, but on the day, just nerves got the better of me and I made mistakes. All right. And as I'm sure some of you have done a similar thing and you feel like it's the end of the world. But, I've learned so much from that failure and taught myself and taken those lessons and try to pass it on to you guys when I talk to you and fly with you. And, that does make us a better pilot overall. It's never nice at the time, but we can take these experiences and really grow from it if we take it the right way. And that's really the first takeaway. These setbacks are opportunities for growth. They're not the end of your journey. They're a turning point. So what are some common challenges that you're going to be facing from the very first flight right through to the end? And failed check rides is definitely the main one. It's probably the first time. Again, you might have had little failures, but it's not been such a big deal because you just go back and do the lesson again. And whilst, of course, you can do the flight test again, there's a bigger build up to that. And you really, this is the big day and hopefully it all happens. And first solo is very much the same thing. But for a flight test, or a check ride in employment, it's a big deal. All right. And the most gut wrenching, if it doesn't work, you've spent so much time, money, and effort to prepare, and for whatever reason, it hasn't gone your way. And look, it could have been because you didn't prepare enough. You might have thought you did, but in hindsight, you've realized, no, I didn't prepare enough. And it's okay to feel that disappointment, but remember, it's just one flight. All right. Tough training days. We've all had sessions where nothing seems to go right. Just poor landings, gaining height in a steep turn, botched stall recovery. It gets frustrating. But again, these days help you identify and recognize these symptoms. So when it starts to happen next time, eventually it's all going to click and it will help you work on these weak areas. Job rejections are a big one, and one I often see up here, or just not even getting a chance to be rejected, I guess you could say. But applying for that GA job and just not getting it or not getting a response, and it can be frustrating. And I have that up here a lot where everyone's going, oh, I've applied and I've emailed or I've had a chat, but then I haven't heard anything since. And like I keep saying, just remember that everyone is not working on the same time frame you are. There's a lot going on in industry. There's a lot going on with minimal staff, minimal senior staff in most cases. And sometimes things just take time. All right. But if you do get that chance to then get the interview and you fail it, all right, you've got to look at why. And again, this is a chance to learn and improve. You've got to take it on the chin and go, right, I stuffed this up somehow, but I don't know. I don't know why. What did I do wrong? Now, you can always ask for feedback, but sometimes, again, everyone's busy and just doesn't have time for that. But I can tell you guys now, for those of you that will be applying or are applying right now, a very quick look at your resumes, cover letters, or how you are preparing for interviews and answering questions is not enough. And I've said this time and time again, that why you would invest, upwards of $100,000 plus into your flight training, i.e. yourself, and then not spend any money on advertising yourself, i.e. getting interview training, resume training, making sure that you are putting out the best possible indication that you are the one to be employed. All right. So part of what I do in the GA transition training course is go through your resumes, help you get those on point for all the information that everyone's looking for, but also go through what you've written on there. And a lot of you will put very generic intro bits that say I'm a very good problem solving, I'm a very conscientious worker, I work hard, this and that, the other. You'll write down all these other skills and things you'll have. Just remember, when you write a resume, you're saying that you can do those things. So expect questions about those potentially. Anything on that resume is your advertisement. So this is what I can do. Now, if you're going to go get a product and you're going to test it out, aren't you? You're going to see if that product can do the things it claims to do. An interview process is exactly the same thing. Anyway, this isn't a job interview episode, but just wanted to take the chance to remind you all of that. All right. And then ultimately, another example, there's so many, but unforeseen life events. Okay. Sometimes things just don't line up. All right. You have personal setbacks, relationship breakdowns, financial challenges, you run out of money at the worst possible time, health issues with yourself or a family member. I've had so many people book in with me and then just say, Trent, I'm so sorry, but a grandparent or uncle and auntie or whoever it is, doesn't matter, is really, really ill and I need to deal with that. And that, as you absolutely should. Right. But then this can interrupt things, throw you off, might mean some repeat lessons and whatever else. So again, it can be just very frustrating and a little bit depressing because you go, oh man, this has just cost me so much money. But it's out of your control. And that sometimes makes it tougher and a bit unfair maybe, but you've got to do what you've got to do. And again, there's a way around it. And I know so many of you have been affected by COVID, had, big interruptions into your flight training, possibly right when you're about to try and get a job or whatever else, and you've had to go and do something else for a while. All right. So those of you that are resilient and have picked yourself back up and got back on the bike, as they say, is just awesome and well done, because that's a selling point. All right. It really is. So what are some strategies to help you build resilience? All right. How do you bounce back from these challenges? Well, here's a few strategies for you. So number one, reflect, but don't dwell. All right. So take time to understand what went wrong, just like you would in a normal debrief. Was it a lack of preparation, a mental block? Try and identify the root cause, but don't beat yourself up over it. Just focus on what you can do better next time. All right, number two, seek feedback. Whenever a setback happens, talk to your instructor, your examiner, a mentor, other students. All right, honest feedback is invaluable, but you've got to be prepared to listen to it, hear it, and take it on board. None of us like to be told that we're not good enough or haven't done something right or whatever else. But remember, if it's someone you respect and an instructor or whatever else, then it should be done in the right way, that it's all constructive feedback. All right. I never like the word criticism, constructive criticism. Criticism is a negative sounding word. All right. But a positive critique to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, but what can be done about it? And that's always what a good feedback should be. It should never just be all the things that were wrong. It's like ways to make it better and improve on it. So get those insights. All right. You may not have picked up or seen. Reflect on it yourself later on and guide yourself towards improvement. All right. Number three, develop a growth mindset. So remember, aviation's a journey, not a destination. All right, every pilot, no matter how experienced, is still learning. I am learning all the time. And I've got some learning coming up very, very soon, which I'm very excited to tell you all about, but not just yet. But view these setbacks as part of the learning process rather than a failure. It really is. All right, number four, something very passionate I'm very passionate about is practicing self-care. All right. Sounds a little bit cliched these days, but it's important. You've got to eat well. You've got to get enough sleep. You've got to get enough exercise. You've got to find ways to manage stress. Having a good place to live, good support around you, someone to talk to about things that are going on so that they don't become big issues. All right. A healthy body supports a good, healthy, focused mind. So if you are struggling with anything, feel free to reach out. I've mentioned Navigating Aviation as a source for some counselling and just someone to talk to that understands aviation and the challenges there, talking to Angela Garvey and her crew. But self-care is something that's really, really important, and not allowing these things just to get you down and make it really hard to get back up. All right. And number five, set new goals. So use the setback as motivation to set clear, achievable goals. Maybe you need more practice in a crosswind landing, and that's just what it's going to take. Better practice for your oral exams. You just might not be good at being asked questions and coming up with the right answers. The only way to do this is practice. All right. So have a plan, Give yourself something to aim for. Be open and honest with yourself and really identify where your strengths and weaknesses are. All right? If you just struggle having questions or answering questions all the time, it's probably just because you just don't know the subject well enough. And it is, you do know the subject, but you just can't draw on the information. Then you need to practice with somebody else and put yourself under a bit of pressure so you can learn to deal with that. And you will get better. All right. So I have seen students struggle with certain maneuvers or just trying to pass an exam, flight test, and they have always come back stronger with the right attitude and the effort, right? But there are some that chose not to go that way and continued to struggle until eventually it all clicked. That in itself is still part of their journey, all right? I know students have struggled. I took 5 flight test attempts for somebody once before they eventually passed. All right. But you know what? When we got there in the end, it was just such a great thing. And they understood why. And then they actually recognized that, a lot was it about the way they went about things, and they applied it to future tests, didn't have that problem ever again. All right. So if you're facing a setback right now, I really want you to remember this. It's not a dead end. It's a detour. All right. I always say that the pilot license journey is like getting on a bus, and there's the most direct route, but you know what? There's all these side routes and different ways to go, and you can get off and you can get back on, and it might not be the cheapest path, but you will get there to your destination in the end. But remember, it is a journey. All right. So the way you respond to these setbacks defines you more than the setbacks themselves ever could. Aviation is about constant improvement, learning, and resilience. So take a deep breath, assess the situation, and get back in the cockpit. You've got this. All right, guys, that's it for today or this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I am off onto a plane later on today, or Monday if you're listening to this, and going to go jump in the cage with some sharks and swim some sea lions. And then Sunday, I'll be down at Aldinga. So if you are in the Aldinga region and you'd like to say hello, I would dearly love to see you. So that's Sunday, the 12th of January. And I'll be doing my float plane. So I don't know exactly when I'll be on the ground available, but either be first thing or towards the end of the day. But I'd love to see you there and say good day. And then I'll be over to Perth on Monday, the 13th. Down at Jandakot from Tuesday to Friday, doing a bunch of things. I'll be popping in to everybody and saying hi to a few people that have reached out. So if you'd like to say good day, just message me. I'll let you know roughly where I'm going to be or where I have some time, and really love to catch up and say good day and see where you guys are at in your journey. All right, that's enough for me. Take care, stay safe, and remember to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I would love to get some more comments on Apple Podcast. Even if you just pop over there and leave a message just to keep those the feedback going. It all just helps the strength of the podcast and others to find it. And I would very much appreciate you taking the time to do that. And again, of course, as always, a big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys. Stay safe, blue skies, and remember the golden rule: aviate, navigate, communicate. Cheers, everyone.